TS timing system. You can have fun with the colors, the views, the setups. It's all in there. I just got it on the basic. I do recommend turning these guys on, which gives you the ability to see the status. Staging, so if there was an error message or something came up, you can see it all firsthand. Registrations as it's going through and loading items, and if you had networking running, you have the networking tab as well. There are multiple different views to play with. Trees, setups, file views, whatever. I always leave it in class view, just found it the easiest to play with. This is where the membership files come into play. I'm gonna load a full membership file. So as you can see, there are lots of columns available to you. The membership file, you can program everything into this. You could do full events. You can program how many events there are for the year. And like I said, you've got a lot of other things here in here that we just typically turn off. You know, like, I don't need to know the age of the driver, date of birth, go away. Sell information, work information, sponsors, miscellaneous. You can put it all in there. That's up to you on a full membership.
Just more time consuming.
Correct.
And as you'll find out, is that time consuming problem is when it starts at 7 o'clock and ends at 9:45, and there's only one person running, they're gonna be pulling your hair out, and somebody's gonna be ornery, angry, and pissed off.
All those people are from the Southwest region.
Well, this is a test file that V puts out there. So this is just a dummy file. I didn't put them on there, but at least I don't think I did. That was one of the last things I was gonna do today, was to give you guys this last year's information so that you at least have that backup file to work with. I don't think I put it out here yet. No, I didn't, because it'll be, see how this one says 2023? That's your working folder for the equipment. There'll be another one I'll put back out here. It's 2022s, and that'll show you all your membership files for 2022, all the events, scoring, everything we did for 2022 will all be in that folder. And you can just switch between them to open them if you need to. Okay, so this is the basic membership file. Like I said, you put everything in here. You've got all the basic stuff for setting your reports, setting your views, paid listing, email listings, directory listing, rookies. You can set all that up any way you want to. The work definitions, columns you want to turn on and off, options like the screen, view application looks, which toolbars you want turned on, what you want it to look like, things you want to clear. To register somebody, right mouse click, insert new entry. Here's the basic fields that come up. This field box here will look very similar to the same one if you want to do it just within an event and not outside of it, except for basically this bottom portion of it goes away. So none of this extra stuff. The address stuff goes away. You still have the option for paid membership methods, all of those types of things. Another thing to note with the registration, you know, when I've given you those printouts, it'll show you how much people paid, give you the everything. You can do it all from within the system. So you don't have to sit there and handwrite them. You can go into a file and just program all that information and print it.
Awesome.
And how they paid.
Their memories, math, yeah, you've got your methods in here. It's all in here. So that is one way of putting it in. And basically, car numbers, you'll notice that right now it's in class. And you know, when we've gone through classes and I said, well, it's in order of class. It's in the order in which the system gives me the classes. And so you'll see that that's why they're in the order that they are. You double click the top and you'll notice that it just went into the order that it puts it into. That's typically how I order them when I go through them. You can sort the fields by double clicking at the top. So I just did in my last name. Any of that, again, insert, copy. If I was gonna print a label for it, so you have to turn the little guy on. I'll give you a hint. First thing to check if your print doesn't work, this guy's probably not turned on. And that's for the demo. So if I turn this guy on and hopefully it's formatted the right way, it might not be yet. We'll have to play with it. Wake up. I didn't check the settings yet to see if it's set, so it might be going to the other format. I think it is. It's going to the sheet label. Open sesame. Yeah, it's going to the sheet labeler. Oh, that doesn't need to be there. Remove, go away. Okay. So the reason why it's not printing also is because these nice little setup options haven't been done. Lots of stuff. This is the configuration settings, whether you're on a membership file or an event file, is your friend. Manual recording times. Typically I turn this on because otherwise I can't test by typing in a number and get the display light to work. If that's turned off, the only way you can get it to work is if the display light turns it off using the equipment, the A's and the B links. Timer mode. Like I said, there's all kinds of things in here we've never really played with. Typically it's always on normal.
No time.
Timer port, like I said, is always 3. Display ports, always 4. Additional settings can be done on that display light. The minute second formats can be changed if you want to add that information and have it print that way.
Okay.
Somebody's phone?
Yeah, mine.
Okay. Label fonts, change to whatever you want. If the printer was connected, it would be these items. Report options. A lot of times when I do the printouts with all 14, you have to update this to include all 14 items. Otherwise, it'll only do the first 10 events.
I got to say,
I hear.
I hit save, but go back to where I was
I
here.
am.
Yep, that's why she's videoing it.
You've got all different color displays. You can change this any way you want. The timing slips. You guys that come out of here. Never use this, but there is the option to use this, which is the online registration formatting with the equipment. Never used it. Penalty assignments. So if you want to change that from 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever you want to change them to. Column setups. Typically I don't use this version or this. Don't play with the points. Don't play with the packs or the miscellaneous settings. I've typically not messed with. Printer options. One thing to keep in mind here. You know, when I print a label, you see the driver's name, number, we do the best time, fastest time, so forth. You have to tell it which timing slip you want it to use. So there's a press to customize the print templates. There are all kinds of templates out here. It's your choice, what you want to play with, what you want to use.
Yeah.
Okay?
What have you been using?
Yeah,
That's where I was headed.
We're
I
gonna
always
keep it the same
use
way.
this time
Let's make
slip
this-
long. Okay?
Times. the
Now.
long.
Ignore this active template profile at the moment because this is correct. The time slip long is its own. It'll pull out its own column, set it what it wants. But because it's the same length that we use for ours, that's why I use that one. And then there is a file out there called TC time slip. That is the time slip we've set up to put all that stuff on there. But like I said, you can edit it any way you want. So you have to hit save. If the active button is on, that means the system's not reading that template yet, and you just have to activate it to tell it to turn on. It's grayed out, so it is reading it. And then just click OK, and now that's the correct one that's set up. Now, try this again. Why are you not turning on?
Did you do the printer, or you said that you turn this dyno at,
Yep.
at a later point?
It's on now.
That's on.
got a little blue light on. See, you get to see exactly what Erica has to do.
It's going to take 43 of us to replace Erica, you know.
Only 43?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is printing. Why is it not communicating here?
bother her while she's in there.
Is that right? Anyway. Gotta tell it where to print from. I don't want the sheet feed label, thank you. Wrong
You
one.
see, the phone's drifting.
Oh, I'm moving it.
Hey, give me that. The reports and the printing, in all honesty, is normally the biggest pain in the keister. Because you have to make sure everything's facing the right landscaping versus portrait versus all the fun stuff. It is on a dedicated whiteboard now. I bet you anything I can do it till I get into an event, which it likes to play havoc with. So all those times people come up to me and say I need to change my class, right mouse click, reclass, the whole list comes up. Pick the one that you gotta have. Hit reclass, you'll see that it changed the class, and it changes them in the tree on where they went. So you can see each of them that are in that class. And you can hide and break them up whichever way.
That's pretty cool.
Like I said, like there's these different views. If you just want them by number, or if you want to do them by class, are the two main ones that they have turned on. Okay.
Those are the people that have no class.
I'm gonna, oh, that's a new membership file. I went too quick. Close. I want to open a new event. Basic event information. This is also the stuff that prints out for you at the top. You can fill in all the blanks, the sanction numbers, give it an event number, how many runs is this event gonna have. And of course I just did it with the extras. And then it wants to know what you're gonna call it. And save it. Now those options that I played with when it first came up, you can come out here and change all of them. They're all in this file, just like we were in the membership file. Typically, the Courier News is not a bad font, but to give that bolder font that a lot of them were having hard times reading. It's a little slow on the draw here, but the one that I typically put in is Adobe Heidi Standard 12 and set that. Change to printer settings. Gotta make sure we're in the event and it's on, which it is.
Everybody keeping up with her?
Oh, let's see. Report options, I've only got
There'll be a lot of
10.
trial and
I
error.
got lost 20 minutes ago. I got lost when she turned the computer on.
All the optional settings I don't mess with. Now, all these nice things up here that I was like, I don't like them, you can get rid of them. If you right mouse click up here, you can go to the column preferences and turn them off. The barcode, because we haven't been using it. Earned bonus, travel, remarks. Member number, I don't care about that. Gotta have the registered. And this is where I said you can do the payments and the membership files from here, and I'll show you that setting change as well. But you can turn on all of the things you want on or off.
Should probably be basic for the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we need
Yeah.
all this high-end
Yeah,
stuff
we're
right
Get the
yet.
time out of it.
As you
Right.
see, it's now truncating and taking off all that stuff that I told it I didn't want. And this is also in the setup files, oops, working files, I should say, event attributes. See how it pulled a membership file, but there's no membership data sitting here, there's nobody in it, because there's no actual file. If I go to that dummy file that we were playing in, which is this one, you'll load it, and you're like, well, there's still nothing here. You see how the screen's kind of flashing? It's loading that membership information in the background. But if I actually want to pull anybody in, I have to go to File, Import, Membership Data. And now everybody that was in that membership file specifically is here. I can pull them all in at once. I can hit skip all and hit refresh, and you'll notice all the X's will go away as soon as it refreshes. And now it's gonna make a liar out of me. Come on.
If you have 50 people in there and
There it
20
goes.
people show up, you can grab 20 people out of that 50
Right.
list and move them over.
So for the moment, I'm just gonna grab 3 off the
Yeah,
file here.
Basically,
And I'm gonna tell it to
click on who's
import.
gonna be there.
Yeah, okay, I just saw how she clicked on them.
And you'll see that it just imported
There you
those
go.
3 people's
That's awesome.
information.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the one thing you will also notice that it did is it'll turn back on fields. It does not keep the column preferences to save your butt. So what I always recommend is do your imports for your membership files if you're going to take it from a membership file in before you change any of your view settings, because as you can see, it just totally overwrote everything that I told it I didn't want on. So now I have to tell it to turn all that stuff back off.
Computer don't understand. Doesn't the computer break? There's a gap right here. Now you starting to understand why I says we gotta get going on this sooner than what you think. If you would do this at the driving school, would you have been able to run the driving school?
It would have been more of a sit and watch. Okay, so as you can see, I can add new people within the event itself. Even though there's a membership file, it will save that new person's information in the membership file, but as you can see, that other stuff is gone. You can't put their address information, their email, all that kind of stuff. All those fields are gone. It just will only take the information that you see here into the membership file.
Basically
You can
everything.
always
So
go
it'll
back
push
in.
back to the membership file from an event. but
Yes.
You only get what you entered, nothing more.
Correct. If you want to go back then and then update your membership file
Sure.
with that missing information, you can do it that way as well.
Do that at night or the next day or
Right.
something.
So for here, I'm just going to pick an available number in my old friend that I use all the time, Daffy Duck.
A lot of it's on our registration forms and stuff that they get, but trying to interpret the handwritings, spelling,
Yeah.
which I'm a victim of.
You put in your membership information. This is all the fun stuff. Work stuff, paid. You can do that information here as well.
Workers,
Registers, workers, whatever. I hit register and you'll notice that the field will now update with the new driver I put in. Now, one thing that you will notice differently, do you notice how it instantly put registered in here because there's a little checkbox? So if I'm doing a new one, it's by default to automatically register the driver. Those that are,
makes sense.
even though they're in the membership file, they're not typically registered, and that's why you see them over here. As soon as I hit that registered link, they fill up over here. Okay, so those are now turned on. Now, when I do the 2-day events and I still have people, I make them come see me, is because I don't populate that tree until I know that they're here. You can pre-populate it and take them out. Excuse me, my preference has just been to make sure that they're here so I don't have to sit there and mess with it again. And then I just use this check-in button, which doesn't do anything. It's just kind of my way of knowing, okay, these people checked in with me. I know they're here. Okay. Now it's on. Okay, so this toolbar, I'm going to slide these around a little bit here just to break them up. This is the primary toolbar. This is the one if you were using the barcodes, and this is the networking one. Like I said, right now I don't have any of that turned on because we don't have the Netgear on. We're just using the direct straight function connection. So he's already got those on. I've got this guy on. This is your start of your lights and the start of the display light. When I turn this on, another box is going to pop open, which will then show me power, signal strength, and everything else. So once I turn this on, as you can see, so it'll tell you straight out, Z box at 100%, A box is at 100%, B box is at 90%, and I have direct alignment. Now,
At 100.
do you want to go like tag one of those little boxes to make it unaligned for a minute.
Break it.
Okay, no, hang on. So what I'm gonna do,
You have to turn driveway?
yeah, he does. But I'm not getting the error message I typically get. Typically, this guy will start flashing, so everything's on. Yes. Typically, it'll start yelling at me, telling me that it's not aligned.
You go look at an angle like completely way off, so it doesn't like recognizes it.
Yeah, 90 degrees now.
There it goes.
Oh, we're still getting it up until then?
Yeah.
Wow.
So as you can see, it's gonna sit here. This guy ignore, like I said, it's because I have it off. But you're gonna see, because I have the volume all the way up, it's sitting here and it's putting the screen display up that says received, ignored, finish, and it's telling me that the finish line is the problem.
And it'll keep on doing that.
It'll
until
keep doing this until he realigns it. So if you now align it,
How about the other one?
go ahead.
Twist the
You
other
can,
one.
yep.
And
The start line just
When
kind
you
of twist
get
it.
that,
There you
go
go.
out there, first thing you wanna look is make sure the buttons are facing each other.
Okay, but do you hear why it's different? Why you hear the two different? The difference is that that's the start
That's the
line.
start, yeah.
So it's just constantly going off. So it's starting your timers. This is why I always yell and scream at the drivers, don't go
Cross
through
the
the start
line.
line.
Yeah.
Because it just constantly kicks off. So when that's not aligned on the start line, it's not gonna come up the same way. It's just that the guy is gonna start going crazy. It's gonna keep going off until you realign it.
But at this point, it wasn't actually starting a run, it was just.
No, it actually started the event. You'll see that the timers are
Yeah,
running.
It's like you broke the lights.
Okay.
broke the light- yeah, because it's not aligned.
Somebody drove through because.
Exactly. So you realigned it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why it stopped dinging. Otherwise, it would have kept going
But
off.
your clock is still going until somebody crosses the finish line.
Or I
right?
turn it off.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I typically always have somebody cross the line is because sometimes the system doesn't want to stop it. And I will show you what I mean. Hopefully it'll stop it. You do have a reset. But you have to click the one you want and reset the timer.
There you go.
Click the one you want, reset the timer. Now, yes,
How'd you get three
everything's
clocks-
off.
How'd you get 3 clocks going?
Because he turned it and it just kept going.
Oh.
So like for instance, go turn that one again.
You would think that it'd have to not see it to be a start, and then
Okay.
not see it again to be another start.
So you see how it's
at every one it
it's
starts
gonna
another
just
clock.
keep clocking because it's not aligned.
Now, is it clocking
Oh, so you got
one,
4 clocks going, because that's
one
like-
car,
like-
or is it?
No, right now it's just telling you there's a problem. You're not aligned.
Okay.
It's just going off because that thing's not aligned.
Okay,
Because you've been sitting here going, well, who went through the start lines? What's, and you're looking around, it's because it's not aligned.
okay.
So now if you go ahead and align it, the timers like to
Still
go.
going.
Yeah,
So you got to
And you-
reset each one.
yeah.
Or just walk through it.
So if that just, yeah, or
It's
you have
easier-
to keep.
This is
Walk
easier.
through it.
Now, the one thing you have to keep in mind in doing it at the timer end,
Oh, there's a lot of clocks going. You have more than 4 going in there.
you can have up to 5 lights. And that's why when we were doing the high-speed events, I could tell you I could go up to 5, but I never liked to trigger that 5th one because I didn't want something to get screwed up. Okay? So right now, just because we had that miss up and they're not there, you do see that there are these T1 times. So if I was to go look at the report that shows me everybody's times, those dummy times are there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all that stuff out. So under timing, I'm going to clear anything that was staged. And I'm going to clear anything that was recorded. Now we're totally clean again. We're aligned there. That's on. That's on. And again, this guy likes to be fundamental, but I'm going to turn this guy on. So, how do I get a driver down here? Because you notice it gave me lights, but it didn't give me car numbers. It didn't give me classes. It didn't give me any
You got to go
information.
select it from up there?
You either have to select it or type it in. To get started, I would keep selecting it. Once you get used to the system and maybe you're using a keyboard, because like I said, you can add all those peripherals, close this lid, use the monitor, use a keyboard. The reason why I say to click here is so that you learn the tree. where you're gonna find your car number at. Okay, so basically if I wanna now stage car number 2, I just double click on it and it drops it in. If I wanna then stage 223, double click it, drops it in. Now, if I keep the manual timing mode turned on, I can also type the numbers in. So 119.
And you're just waiting for them to start at the start.
Right. So now they're in pre-staging mode. They may be lined up and I may have already caught them, but, or this is where I'm sitting here waiting for the stager to tell me
'cause
who's
you
in
never know,
line.
a
Were you doing
rerun might
manual?
come in and get in between.
Were you doing manual?
For the most part, I was, yes. Just because
would too, yeah.
well, like again though, I know the tree. I don't have to look back at the tree to understand where they're at anymore. That's why I say pick the tree until you get used to
Right.
it. When you understand what the tree's doing, that's when I started using the entry because it was quicker, because then I can just type the number in and go. It also helps to learn the tree because you can have a ladies 119 and a men's 119. If I just type in 119 and they're both there, it'll take the men's every time. You have to go to the
Isn't
tree
that
and double
shitty?
click.
Well, if you have a rerun, if you have a
Sorry,
rerun,
guys.
rerun all the time, then
None of them got it, that's okay.
if you have a
I
rerun,
did.
if you have a rerun that has to be interjected in there somewhere,
Okay, to do a rerun, you have to change the settings here. So right now you've got run one of each, classes, and the numbers. Now, if I type a time in, because like I said, in the manual mode, which I don't have it turned on, as you can see, because I can't type in that field. And so if I turn the manual mode on, which I have to do on the other screen,
Just remember, there'll be a quiz at the end of the day here.
I'm gonna fail.
I know what the blue cable's for.
that should error. I want you to error on purpose. It's not letting me do manual timing entry. Even though it's on, it might be because of the go fast. They might not have the option for it. Because I've seen it do that before. Typically you can double click and I'll start a totally new one just to dink with this. And did I put a dummy one in there? No, just that one.
I can get a couple more chairs if you guys want to sit.
I haven't done it through a few test files, have I? Okay, and it does say manual timing mode. Okay, so it is doing what I want it to do now. See how the timing box came up? The test file that was in there, there's restrictions on the licensing, and the reason why it wouldn't let me put in manual mode is because that GoFundMe group doesn't have the manual mode option on. It's not in what they paid for. So even though I had it turned on, it won't come up. This one, you can now see that I can put a time in this box. It'll let me enter it. So I'm gonna turn the lights back. Oops, I gotta go back into the settings and make sure that all the settings are right. 3, 4, yes. Template is in. Options 14. And I've got 14 there. Okay. That guy's on, that guy's on. Okay, they're in there. Turn this guy on. Came up right, no issues. Now, the sound. That is a communication sound.